I think the skipper overshot one night, and he picked a night when the brakes failed. And all of a sudden, instead of having smooth runway, we were on the rough bundu, as we'd called it, and we knew that something wrong had happened, so we took up crash positions. And in my case, I had the radar screen in front of me, so I buried my head in that because we didn't have much time. And there was a hell of a bang, and she just pulled up dead. And I looked up and I saw this red light. I thought, oh, it's on, she's aflame. And then all of a sudden I realised it was the radio ops night light, red. It swung round and lit up the cabin. And then everybody was trying to get out. We had 4 to go out the Astrodome. And the boys unhooked the Astrodome and dropped it. But unfortunately, or fortunately for the navs, when they take a sight of the stars or the sun, they rest there. They had 2 loops of rope, or 2 lengths of rope with loops on the end, into which they put their elbows, and they could take a shot through the Astrodome. And as the Astrodome was released, the locks on the side caught in the loop, and the harder the boys pushed, the tighter it became. And I was on the other side, and there was just enough light to see what had happened. So I pushed and kicked and finally yelled enough till they stopped pushing, and I lifted it up, unhooked the lock, and the first fellow went out without touching the sides. And then everybody went out, and I was the last out. And the first fellow out, he literally was thrown out, and he rolled onto the wing and rolled onto the ground, and the wing was on the ground, luckily. And as I got out, I could see him in the searchlights of the crash wagon, and his shoe had come off, and every so often he'd hit a hard patch and it hurt his foot, and he'd jump. And even in that stress situation, I couldn't help but laugh. Here he is hopping across the bundu in the searchlight. And anyway, then they carted us all off to the medico. I thought Gil had it for a minute because there was blood pouring down his face. I used a handkerchief, which was probably not very clean, and brushed his face, and there was just a little cut there. I was very relieved. But the ammo checked us all off, and we got back to the room about our quarters about 6:30 in the morning, to be greeted by a born-again Christian who said, "Now you see how thin the veil between life and death, you must believe." And at that stage, he was given very short shrift.